And it says finding the least common denominator. These are the steps, and the words sometimes mean little in terms of when you actually, until you see an example. It says factor each denominator completely. List the factors of the first denominator. Add to the list the steps, in step 2, the factors of the second denominator that do not appear in the list, and then form a product. That's your LCD. So in this particular instance, they're not asking us at all to add or subtract. It says just find the LCD. So the first thing I do is I look at denominator 1. I'll call it dem 1. And denominator 1 is 6x squared. Now, its prime factorization really is 3 times 2 times x, because it's 6 is 3 times 2, and there are 2 x's. And if I look at dem 2, the second denominator, it's 9x, which is 3 times x. Now, essentially, what I do is I say, okay, I want the LCD. And if you build it, they will come, right? So that says somebody has to jump into the pool. And so they say dump the first denominator in. Well, that's 3 times 2 times x times x. And that says that if all the factors of 6x squared divide it, then 6x squared does divide it. So 6x squared is there. Then what you do is you look to see, okay, I need 9x to divide it. In order for 9x to divide it, it has to have 2 3's and 1 x. Well, I have 1 3. I'm missing a second 3. But I notice I have more than enough x's. So if I take a look at it, 9x is there. It's 3 times x, that's 9x. So what you do is you get the smallest quantity that both of those denominators will divide into evenly. And they're essentially, and you get rid of any overlap. So in other words, you don't want something, you're playing Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You don't want something too big, and that would be the product of 6x squared and 9x. That's too big. Too small would be just 6x squared, because it's not enough. You want it just right. Well, why would you want it that way? Mainly because it's going to keep you from a world of hurt in the end. So it says, what is it? It's 332x squared. So the LCD is 18x squared. So that means this guy can be turned into 18x squared by multiplying just by 3, but I would multiply whatever I do to the denominator I would do to the numerator. And now this is 18x squared. This one could turn into 18x squared by multiplying by 2 and an x, but what I do to the denominator I must do to the numerator, and there's your 18x squared. And so now the two denominators are the same, and that's the smallest one that's there. So 18x squared is the LCD.